recognition of the 400th anniversary of the Pilgrims establishing a colony in Plymouth, Mass., we asked if there are any Holliston residents descended from the people who came over on the Mayflower in 1620. We were pleasantly surprised at how many there are in Holliston and how much they knew about their famous ancestors. Here then are their stories. Carrie, I understand you're related to some people on the Mayflower. Tell us about them.
Yes. So the two people I'd like to talk about today are William Brewster and Peter Brown.
Okay. Are there any others you're related to?
Well, obviously, slim pickings back in the day. So yes, there were some other connections I found in my research. So Peter Brown is also related a little further down the line. I found a connection to the Mullins. So Priscilla and John, Priscilla was a Mullins and she married John Alden. Yep. And so they are very prominent in the history, obviously. Yeah. So I found that connection also as I was researching Peter Brown.
What about William Brewster?
Oh, Brewster. I see him as like the main character in a action movie because of all of the things that he actually went through. He was considered an elder by the time he came across. You know, he was an older man, so he had lived basically an entire life in England. Actually was postmaster, following in his father's footsteps for 17 years. So he had an entire life before he sort of joined this separatist movement. He was actually one of the only people on board the Mayflower that had any kind of college education at Cambridge University. So he was sort of, I think, introduced to separatist ideas there.
Yeah,
and that
he
sort
really
of
got into it.
Blossomed over time.
And that church he was with sort of sent him over as their founding father in the New World.
Was there ever a list established of all the people who arrived on the Mayflower?
Oh, yeah.
There is a master list? And then those people that perished in the first year?
Half of the passengers.
Amazing. I'd like to know how they assimilated themselves and talked with the Indians who were here and sort of, you know, they always...
You know, and that's a sad part of the chapter, you know. Yeah. The next colony in Massachusetts was in Weymouth. And actually they had caught an Indian stealing, so they put him to death. And then the Indians made a raid because they caught one of the Plymouth plantation colonists stealing from them.
I've been searching my family tree, and I have about 1,000 known descendants on it right now. And you know, I came across him, so I was really interested because of his infamous background, and it was kind of disturbing to me because never did I know that anyone in my family had ever committed, you know, a crime, been in jail or anything to that. And I had to kind of pause for a few days to kind of digest the whole thing, and I kept doing more research on it. And there's a different spin on him also out there, which is that, as I had mentioned, besides being a rabble-rouser, he was very much for freedom of speech, and he was anti-government, and I think that made him a target of William Bradford, and he had this ongoing feud with one of the other Pilgrims, and they happened to be out in the woods at the same time, and he came back and the other Pilgrim didn't. So the other Pilgrim had been shot and died. So they attributed that to him.
I'm sure you could talk for hours on this subject.
I enjoy it, and Paul, it gives me a feeling of connection back to American history, to know that people in my family survived, which many of them did not survive. Right. Many of them had multiple children that passed away. Some of them, it was very common for the families to have 12, 13 children, which would be unheard of today. But to know that these people fought for our freedom.
There are many more Holliston residents descended from the Plymouth colony. If we missed you, the Historical Society is hoping to get all the Mayflower cousins together for a reunion at the Asa Whiting House as soon as the COVID-19 pandemic is under control. So stay tuned to HCAT and the Holliston Historical Society websites for information about the event and more episodes of Holliston People and Places. A search on Facebook for Mayflower descendants will lead you to a wealth of information and groups to help you learn more about the Pilgrims and your connection to them. Thanks for watching.